Oh, off our left side here, you'll see another church down there by that cove. That's where all the trade ships used to come and park in that little cove there, and that's where they unloaded the cattle, and that's where the cows originally came from out here. That little boat landing. I mentioned earlier, in front of us is the town of Coulibaly, just a few houses out here in the rainforest. As I was saying, Coulibaly here, just a few houses now, but this was once the biggest city on all of Maui. They found artifacts going back to like 1200 AD, which is as far back as it goes on Maui as far as Hawaiian artifacts. But disease and virus really wiped out these big cities. When those trade ships came, they brought with them malaria and influenza and leprosy and the rats and mice and mosquitoes that spread disease, and the Hawaiian population went from like 300,000 to 40,000 just in a 100 years span. Big cities like Coulibaly here disappeared now, and just a real small community out here in the forest. Now, the Coulibaly Valley is a rainforest preserve back here. It's some of the most pristine native rainforests in all of Hawaii. The taller trees are koa trees. The lower level of the forest, mostly ferns. Some of the bigger ferns that you can see from the helicopter will grow for over 1,000 years. 1,000-year-old ferns out here in this rainforest. Now, even though it's not raining, you'll see the water just like coming off the ground. This is from all the annual rainfall that we get. We'll seep underground into aquifers that leak, create springs, and eventually waterfalls. This one up here off our left, just about to come into view, is Maui Falls. It's about 300 feet tall. You'll notice there's no more tall trees or forest over here. The forest is real short, and that's because the age of the land. There's not as much topsoil over here, so the trees can't get very tall before the wind will blow them over. A thin layer of topsoil. If you look at some of the riverbeds, you'll see it all looks like lava rock, because they're somewhat recent eruptions for a volcano, so that means in the last 1,000 years or so, these were lava flows out here. We flew up and over the southwest rift zone earlier to see the crater. Now we're approaching the east rift zone, so there's a chain of cinder cones and little hills out here too that are old eruption sites, just covered in vegetation because of all that annual rainfall we get out here. The town of Hana is out there about our 12 o'clock. Hana real famous because of the road to Hana. A lot of people will drive right through the town though and never even know they missed it. It's a small community out here. Down here off our right side, you're going to see kind of a strange row of tall trees. These are Australian eucalyptus trees. They grow faster and taller than all the native trees of the forest, so people used to plant them to mark out property lines in this case, but also to mark out canal systems or pipelines that would get covered in that fast-growing rainforest. Don't need that now with technology, GPS and all that to find property lines, but that's why you'll see strange rows of eucalyptus trees throughout Hawaii. They also plant groves of these Australian eucalyptus trees with the idea that it'd be a future resource. They burn the firewood basically to create biofuels and heat, create electricity. Down below us you'll see a little bit of the road to Hana. The road to Hana only about 30 miles, but there's over 70 bridges just to go that 30 miles. Some of those bridges well over 100 years old.
Butterflies and needles line my seamed out joints in case I need it. In my stomach, on my heart, chainmail, hunger of the pine. Hunger of the pine. Union seems to me spending more desilously, and so you finally use it. Betting with me, you see at night your heart was night summer, hunger of the pine.
Now if you look along these cliffs out in this area or down in the valley, you'll see a little bit of the canal system that would take the water out to central Maui for the agriculture. It was for sugarcane originally. But we don't go sugar cane anymore, so it's for citrus, which doesn't take nearly as much water, so a lot of the water goes in and out of the canal system and eventually all the way down to the ocean. This water's coming. I was saying above this area is a high elevation swamp called Big Bog. In the last 30 years, it's actually averaged more rainfall than any other spot on the planet, and that's well over 400 inches of annual rainfall. So to put that in perspective, Seattle, Washington, known as a pretty wet spot, they get about 40 inches of annual rainfall, so 100 times as much rain as Seattle. Just upslope from here. Down below us, this is a forest preserve called the Maui Forest Preserve. These are mostly Ohialehua trees, but you'll see bald spots in the forest where they look like little meadows, basically. And that's from deer, mostly. Deer will eat all the baby trees, and when the older ones die off, there's nothing to replace them. So there's deer, wild boar, and mountain goats in our forest. That makes up most of the wildlife. Those are all animals that were introduced to the island, and they 1800s by those trade ships. Now they're all over the island. Makawao also means edge of the forest. It's the edge of the rainforest here in a couple miles. It's the edge of the airspace as well. So I'm going to have to be with air traffic control until we land. Before we do land, I do want to thank you guys for coming out and flying with me, though. I don't get to go fly without you guys. They don't let me out by myself. Thanks for getting in here so we can all get up in the air. And then once we land, just sit tight, wait for the ground crew. That'll help you out. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks a lot.
Well, it started out down a dirty road. Started out all alone, and the sun went down as I crossed the hill, and the town lit up. The world got still. I'm learning to fly, but I ain't got wings. Coming down is the hardest thing. Well, the good old days may not return, and the rocks might melt, and the seas may burn. I'm learning to fly, but I ain't got wings. Coming down is the hardest thing. Will beat you down and break your heart, steal your crown. So I started out for God knows where. I guess I'll know when I get there. Fly around the clouds. So what goes up must come down. I'm learning to fly, but I ain't got wings. Coming down is the hardest thing. I'm learning to fly around the clouds. But what goes up must come down. I'm learning to fly. I'm learning to fly. Feels I've got to have a hand to feel. Every night I have a spell got free. And from by the way I could have been left my own arms. Oh, at the season, I've got to leave before I start to fade. Oh, someone locked the door and cut the key. Feeling alright. I'm not feeling too good myself. Yes, I'm feeling alright. I'm not feeling that good myself. Boy, you stop to me, warm back right. And even now I said, if I wonder why, that when I think of you, I stop myself to cry. I just can't wait myself. I must get tired. Gotta stop and leave them. The boys laugh. Folks have too much to do before I die. Hey, it's alright. I'm not feeling too good myself. Oh no, it's alright. I'm not feeling too good, never gonna go.
Alright, thanks again guys for coming out and flying with me. Just sit tight. Chandler and Terrence will be right out for you. You can take off your headsets and seatbelts if you want.